Imagine spending $5,000 on the ultimate tech status symbol, only for the company that built it to pretend it never existed. In 2017, Apple did something completely out of character. They released a machine clad in space gray, packed with server-grade hardware, and slapped a Pro badge on the iconic iMac silhouette. It was a stopgap, a beautiful monster born out of absolute desperation because Apple had painted themselves into a corner with the infamous trashcan Mac Pro. For a brief moment, the iMac Pro was the most powerful, most desirable Mac on the planet. Silicon Valley executives, elite video editors, and high-end developers threw their credit cards at the screen. It was the peak of Intel's dominance inside an Apple chassis. But then, just as quickly as it arrived, it vanished. Discontinued with a cold, abrupt notice on Apple's website telling buyers to get it while supplies last. Why did Apple murder their most beautiful powerhouse? Was it a massive failure? Or did it secretly achieve exactly what it was meant to do? To understand the madness behind the iMac Pro, we have to look at the massive fire Apple was trying to put out. Back in 2013, Apple released the redesigned Mac Pro. It looked like a futuristic, sleek black cylinder. It was a design masterpiece, but a functional nightmare. It couldn't handle the heat of evolving thermal demands, and it completely alienated professional creators who needed expansion slots. For 4 years, Apple's most loyal, high-paying demographic, the people who actually make Hollywood movies, design buildings, and code the apps we use every day, were jumping ship to Windows PCs. Apple was losing the pros. They needed a massive distraction while they completely rebuilt the Mac Pro from scratch. Enter the iMac Pro. Apple took the gorgeous 5K display consumers loved, painted it a dark, menacing space gray, and completely re-engineered the internals. They ditched consumer chips and crammed in massive Intel Xeon processors up to 18 cores. They partnered with AMD to put Vega graphics inside, backed by high-bandwidth memory. They even invented a completely new dual-blower thermal system just to keep the machine from melting itself down. It was a technological marvel. For the first time, you could edit multiple streams of 8K video on an all-in-one desktop without it stuttering. But this machine wasn't just about raw power. It introduced something that would secretly change the entire trajectory of Apple hardware forever. The T2 chip. Before the M-series Apple Silicon chips existed, the T2 chip was Apple testing the waters. It handled security, audio processing, image signal processing, and real-time encryption. It was the bridge between the old Intel era and the future of Apple Silicon. When reviewers got their hands on it, the consensus was unanimous. This wasn't just a regular iMac on steroids. This was a silent, brutal workhorse that handled everything you threw at it with absolute grace. Yet, despite the rave reviews, a dark cloud hung over the iMac Pro from day one. The price tag, starting at $4,999 and scaling all the way up to over $13,000 fully specced out. For that price, you could build a ridiculously powerful, highly upgradable Windows workstation. And that brings us to the fatal flaw of the iMac Pro: the absolute lack of upgradability. If you bought an iMac Pro, you were locked into your choices. Want to upgrade the